Welcome to episode 25 of our CRICKETher weekly vodcast. We've got cricket in the background once again. We're here at Worcester for the Sparks against the Thunder. Now, the Thunder have just finished their innings. They finished on 166 for 8 thanks to some swashbuckling heroics from Alice Dyson at the end there. So good recovery for them. Who's going to win this one, do we think, Sid?
Well, the Sparks actually had a little bit of trouble chasing down a slightly lower title against the Thunder last weekend at Edgbaston, which was probably a better batting pitch as well. So it could be a close game here. I'm not going to put my money on anyone, but if you're out there and you think you know the result, seeing as you'll be watching this tomorrow morning, you can probably make a better guess than I can.
That's true. It's going to end up being out of date very quickly. We'll just give you a rundown on some of the other round 3 action. Lightning got to 226 against the Diamonds. Storm racked up a bit of a mammoth 265 against the Sunrisers in the end.
Yeah, who needs her tonight?
There you go.
Not the Storm, apparently.
England will probably beg to differ. And Vipers have hit 209 for 8. Against the Stars. So those are the other games that are going on at the moment. We also saw several great games last weekend in round 2 after we made our video at Beckenham. So before this round of matches started, at the top of the table for the North Group were the Diamonds and for the South Group were the Vipers. And at the bottom of the table, languishing at the bottom of the table, as much as you can languish after 2 rounds, Lightning were at the bottom for the North Group and Sunrisers were at the bottom for the South Group. Obviously, the England players have now left the Rachel Hayhoe Trophy, gone back to their training bubble elsewhere. So, Sid, do you think that's going to make a difference?
Yeah, definitely. Although, Storm have been trying to prove me wrong this morning, but I did a little bit of a piece for CRICKETher where I very simply took out the England players' performances and then look what's left. The Diamonds particularly suffered from that. They were very dependent last weekend on their England players. The Vipers, interestingly enough, still do quite well. So I think the Vipers will carry on doing well. They're not quite so dependent upon their England players. Loughborough Lightning, ought to be doing better than they are, and you hope maybe they'll be getting a result today. So yeah, and I think the Sparks could be doing well as well. So.
Okay, it was a very interesting piece. If you haven't read it yet, then do go back and read it. In international news, as I said, the England players have left the Rachel Hayhoe Trophy and they are now in a training bubble at Loughborough. And meanwhile,
lucky them.
Well, the West Indies are even luckier because they have flown in from the sunny islands of the Caribbean and they are now training in a bubble at Derby.
Lovely stuff.
We were talking last weekend about the fact that we were going to be seeing a largely full-strength West Indies side minus Anisa Mohammed. Have we had any other squad news this week come out of the West Indies bubble at Derby, Sid?
Well, there have been a few interviews done. The West Indies are obviously, saying they're up for it. But the most interesting development is that Deandra Dottin says that she's fit to bowl again, so we haven't seen her bowl for quite a while. So that'll be great news for the West Indies. She'd almost become, despite the fact of her legendary reputation as a hard-hitting batter, she's actually almost become more important to the team as a bowler over the last few years. So they'll be very relieved to have her back, get some economy and get some wickets, in their sort of early to middle phase of the game. So yeah, I think that's the big deal. That's a big deal for them.
Yeah, obviously recovering from a shoulder injury.
Yeah. So what about England, Raf? Where are we at with England? What do you think? What's going to be happening?
Well, it's an interesting question, isn't it? So we know that they've got 24 players in their Loughborough training bubble at the moment, but the likelihood is that will be reduced a bit before they have their final squad selected against the West Indies. So you'd presumably think that at least 4 or 6 of those players will probably be released then to play in the final round of the Rachel Hayhoe Trophy. And the final, if their team gets that far. So that might benefit some of the sides. Somebody like Lauren Bell, you'd imagine, is probably going to be released for the Vipers. Izzy Wong would probably be likely to be released to play for the Sparks. ADR Alice Davison-Richards and Bryony Smith for the Stars, you'd think. Somebody who might be a bit of a fringe case, though, in terms of whether she's released or not, is Sophia Dunkley, who we obviously saw batting so magnificently last weekend. Magnificently right until she got into the 90s and then had a little bit of a brain fart, as she described it.
Her own words.
It was her own words, on 97, and then unfortunately got out before hitting that all-important three-figure mark. Now we know that England coach Lisa Cartley was watching on at Beckenham, so that may well have been Sophia Dunkley's opportunity to make an impact there and make a real case for selection. What do you think about that, Sid? She got every chance of being selected for the final squad against the Windies?
Yeah, certainly a chance, isn't there? And the interesting thing about Dunkley was that her bowling does seem to have come on, and she bowled quite a few overs for the Stars. She was landing it in a fairly consistent place. I think that puts her in a good place as well, because if you're saying, well, we've got this bowler who can bowl some consistent, in 2020 if they can consistently bowl 4 overs of reliable leg spin, and they've got the kind of hitting power that Dunks has got, then that's got to be something worth looking at.
Sure, absolutely. Lisa Cartley was certainly making some very intent notes last weekend, so who knows what she's thinking. Last bit of news that we've had through this week, Sid, is that all of the Women's Big Bash League matches this season are planned to be played in Sydney. So they have thrown the established schedule, which had already been released, out of the window, and now they're saying everyone is going to be in Sydney, venues and times of matches TBC. So, all a little bit of a mess there, Sid?
Well, I think that it shows that Australia are trying to get it on, and they're trying to react to the situation as it evolves. Australia, obviously, the population very concentrated in their big cities, which means that any one of those big cities is vulnerable to quite an unlocal lockdown. We've seen cities locked down here as well, but they obviously, somewhere like Oldham is a much smaller proportion of England than a Sydney or a Melbourne might be of Australia. So I think that Cricket Australia are making a good effort to try and get it on, and they're being flexible, they're being adaptive, they're being agile. That's what they need to be. So I think it means that let's face it, they could have gone, nah, guys, it's too difficult, we're getting rid of WBBL, we'll do it next year, but they haven't. So I think it's good news.
Okay, good. Well, fingers crossed that everything goes ahead as planned, and that will be great for women's cricket, and we'll certainly be watching on TV / on live streams as it becomes available. Right, we are off now to watch the second half of this match here at Worcester to see whether Sparks can chase down 167. By the time you watch this, we'll probably know either way for sure. See you in a week.